guys, Soy Eva del Aire. Welcome back to my channel. So it's story time. I was just in the Dominican Republic, 3 weeks, had a fantastic time, one of my favorite places on earth. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. So I wanted to share with you guys my story of how I got Atracada in the Dominican Republic. So I've been going to the Dominican Republic on and off since about 2007. So 12 years. And something that people always told me about was the Atraco. So in the Dominican Republic, an Atraco is basically like getting mugged. You're getting robbed for something, just like it happens in any other place. This final time, I got, and I want to tell you guys the story of how it happened. So just now when I was in the Dominican Republic, I was in a bunch of different cities. I was in Santiago, I was in Santo Domingo, I was in Samaná, I was in El Ceibo, and just really kind of see what each city had to offer. One of the most beautiful places in the Dominican Republic is the Samaná Peninsula. I went to Samaná for the weekend and I stayed in this beautiful apartment. I'm gonna put the video on the screen where you can see just the views from the balcony. You look out over the bay and it was just amazing. It was tremendous. It had all the amenities. It had air conditioning. It had hot water. I mean, these are really perks, people. And so I was having a great time. The owner of the apartments where I was staying offered for me to go along with a group of people that were going to Playa Rincon. If you guys have the chance to visit Playa Rincon in Samaná, take it, take it, take it, take it. They told me that it was one of the 10 most beautiful beaches in the world. It depends on who made the list. I've seen a lot of different lists and a lot of different beaches. I can't say with certainty that it is one of the 10 most beautiful beaches in the world, but what I can say is that it is a beautiful beach. If you have the chance to check it out, do. The water is so clear and blue, the sand is white. So we got back from Playa Rincon, and you know, I decided, okay, I'm gonna get done up. I'm gonna go down to the Malecón area in Samaná, where they have like all the little kiosks and the restaurants and the music and everything's going on. So right when I went down, I decided like, oh, I'm gonna leave my cell phone in the room, you know, because I was taught right? They were like, just don't be walking around at night with a bunch of stuff. So I was like, okay. So I left my cell phone. I was like, I don't need it anyway. I took a little wristlet, like it was maybe this big. Like it wasn't a purse, it was just like a little wristlet. And it had like 1,000 pesos in it, which is like $20. And I had my debit card and my credit card in there because I was thinking about making a withdrawal from the ATM so I could pay for the night at the hotel. And so I was like, oh, I might do it, you know, get it out of the way before tomorrow. Let me just take my card. So I was getting ready to leave, and I was talking to these 2 ladies who were also staying in the place. And they were saying, oh, you're going down there? I think it was 8 o'clock. Like it wasn't late. The sun had already set, but it wasn't late. And so they're like, oh, you're going down there alone? Like, oh, you know, oh, you're so adventurous. And I was just like, it's like 5 minutes walking from here. I was like, yeah, you know, if I was in the capital, I wouldn't have anything. I was like, I might not even go out. Porque tienen atracadores, you know, te atracan por nada, por cualquier cosa. And so we had this whole conversation about how Samaná, you know, was different. Like Samaná was this paradise. Samaná was relaxing. And that's what I was saying. The other 2 ladies were like, girl, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. And I was like, I'm starving. And I want to go get a pizza down by the Malecón. So that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, I'll see y'all when I get back. Christmas time, you know, everybody's out there festejando, you know, having a great time, eating, drinking, being merry. I'm at this pizza place, and I was just kind of, this is parenthetical again, but I was at this pizza place, and the guys that were making the pizzas, like, they weren't wearing gloves, and they had like the meats they were using in like little Tupperware containers with no tops. And I was just like, like, if I survive, and like one of them was like making his own chicken, and like they were making pizza, but he was like cooking chicken in like a separate, like they had the pizza oven and he had a separate oven and he was making chicken in it, and then he was eating the chicken with like one of his hands and then like making the pizza, and I was like, if I survive this, I will survive anything. And so I had my pizza, and while I was sitting there, all of these, like, I don't know if they were like, this was the pickup spot, they were trolling, I don't know, these old Italian guys and like old Dominican guys, basically just old guys. They were like, hey, you know, you want to come sit at my table? Hey, what's a young lady like you doing out here alone? And I was like, I'm fine, I'm good, okay. And I finally decided to head back up to the house around 9-ish. So I wasn't down there that long, maybe like an hour. The pizza was good. I did not get sick. And so I decided to go up. I decided not to take money out of the ATM because I was like, well, you know, somebody could see me, because the ATMs were outside. So I was like, somebody could see me take the money out. I don't have anywhere to hide it if I take it out, and then, you know, I might make myself a target. So I'm walking along the Malecón, and I told you guys I was looking good, right? Like I had done my hair, I had on that dress, and so like random guys were talking to me, and I was just like tuning them out. Like I would see people, but I was tuning them out because I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So like anytime like I saw a guy out of my peripheral vision, I was just like, I'm good, no thank you, no I'm good, I'm just trying to get home. And so I was strolling, like I wasn't walking fast. I was just strolling. You know, it was a nice evening, there was nice weather. It was maybe a 5-minute walk to get from the Malecón to the apartment where I was staying. And so the Malecón is the main avenue, like it has lights, you know, it's right along the water, like a lot of people are sitting out there on benches and stuff. And I needed to turn on this one street. That was, you know, it was not as main, it wasn't a main street. It was just the street that took me to the apartment. But it wasn't like super dead. Like there was a colmado, which is like a corner store, and there was a bunch of people like over there in the colmado. There was like a gym on the corner and some other stuff. So I turn onto that street and I'm going up this hill. I'm like 2 minutes from the house. And so I'm going up this hill and I see this kid in my peripheral vision, and I'm all like, no thank you, I'm good, I'm good. And I see him like accelerate, and I was like, I was more annoyed than anything. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why is he accelerating in my left peripheral view? And so, you know, I turn because I'm like, do you need something? I turn and I see him like lift his shirt up and pull a gun out of his waistband. And I was like, come on, like in my head, like just, I don't know, I think he said something. I'm not 100% sure. Like he might have said something. Whatever he said, I didn't hear, I didn't distinguish. And so I just looked at him, but I saw the gun, and so I was like, I guess I know what this is. And so I can't even tell you the amount of time that passed. Like it could have been a split second, it could have been 3 seconds, it could have been 5 seconds, I don't know. But I do know that I was like, oh man. And so I handed him my little wallet thing. And like, as I was handing it to him, I was like, oh shoot. I was like, oh shoot. Maybe I should just take the money out and give him the money, because he doesn't need my cards, because I can just cancel them. Like he has to know that I'm gonna cancel them. And so I was gonna take it back. So like I was handing him the wallet and his hand was on it. And then like I pulled it back and I was just like, I don't have experience with this. I don't know what the protocol is. Like I know like people are like, your life is worth more than your belongings. Just give them what they want. And I was like, yeah. No, I was gonna give him the money. I was just gonna keep the wallet. But yeah, like it wasn't a negotiation situation. So like I started pulling it back, and like no words were exchanged. Like he put the gun, and I started to hand him the wallet, and he put his hand on the wallet, and then I was taking it back, and then he did like this with the gun. Like Like he never put the gun, he didn't put the gun in my face, he didn't put it to my head. He was still like a decent distance away. He just had it pointed at me. And so like when I was taking the wallet back, like whatever hand his gun was in, he was like, ma'am, this is a stick up. This is not time for a negotiation. This is not time for that. And so I just let it go and I let him have it. I was maybe 10 yards from the main boulevard where all the people were and the lights. Maybe 50 feet in front of me was the colmado with all the people that were just hanging out. But we were in the exact spot where the people from the main boulevard didn't see us and the people from the colmado didn't see us. And there was one neighbor, so there was a house like where I stopped, there was a house behind. Like, I heard somebody gasp and they were like, te robaron, like, oh, they robbed you. And I was like, gracias por la narración, por si no hubiera sabido lo que me acaba de pasar, gracias. And so I walked up the hill, like I was like, I guess I'll tell the guy that owns the apartment where I'm staying. I was like, I'm gonna go up to my room. I was just thinking about everything I was grateful for. I was like, I'm glad that I didn't take my phone. I'm glad that I didn't take that money out of the ATM. Like, it could have been a much worse situation. Okay, you know, I can recover from this. But then I started to think, wait, my debit card was in the wallet and that's how I would get cash. So I was like, I can't get cash and I don't have cash. Okay. And I was like, my credit card was in the wallet. So I don't have cash, I can't get cash, and I don't have a credit card. And I was in Samaná. The next day I was supposed to be going back to Santo Domingo, but on the bus. And I didn't have my bus ticket, so I was gonna need to buy it, but I had no cash. I had no debit card. I had no credit card. And so I'm thinking about all of this. I'm walking up to my room. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to see if I can message somebody, see if they can wire me some money. I get up to my room and I'm about to open the door and I was like, dagnabbit! My room key was in the wallet with the money and the debit card and the credit card. And it's like 9-something at night. The people at the place where I was staying, a lot of them were older, so they were all sleeping. And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? And so eventually I talked to the couple that was staying in the apartment below mine. They were still awake. And then they woke up the owner. Because even though, I don't know, like I felt like I didn't want to inconvenience anybody. So I wasn't gonna mention it to him until the next day. Like if I had been able to, if I had my key to go in the room, like I just wasn't gonna mention it. I didn't want to inconvenience them, but we woke him up and he was really angry. Like he was very upset. Like he was more upset than I was. And he's like, come on, let's go. And I was like, where are we going? And he like took me on a patrol of the neighborhood, like anybody that was outside, like he like slowed down the car and he was like, was it them? Was it him? Was it them? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember exactly what the kid looked like. I know he was short. Like I know that his hair was cut short. I know that he had a gun. Like these are the facts. This is what I know. So eventually he takes me to the police station, the destacamento. Oh, destacamento, sorry. That's my Portuguese pronunciation. The destacamento. And we go inside and there's like 40 police officers. And he was like, why are you guys all in here? He was like, somebody should be out there patrolling. You guys are good for nothing. People are out here getting robbed. What impression are they gonna take away about the country? This girl came from the United States y la atracaron en camino en la puerta de la casa a pistola y ustedes están aquí, no hay nada de patrulla. And I was like, it's really okay. It was like $20. But he was like, no, somebody's gonna answer for this. And so he's like yelling at the chief of police. I found out later, like he took me back to the house. We found a way to get into the apartment and you know, like I went, put my credit cards on hold or canceled them. I went to sleep. I mean, I messaged one friend who was in Santo Domingo. Was like, hey, can you send me $8 so I can buy the ticket to Santo Domingo for tomorrow? And I can't remember if I told my mom that night or if it was the next day. I think it might have been that night. I can't be sure. I told a couple people. I went to sleep. I woke up the next day and I found out that the guy that owned the apartment had been like letting everyone have it. He went to the governor's house and was like, "Usted no sirve para nada." And the governor was like, "What did I do?" And he's like, "Están aquí estos delincuentes, entran aquí a Samaná, no son de aquí, son de otra parte, vienen aquí, atracan a la gente en la puerta de su casa, usted no sirve para nada." And I was like, I feel like you gained an enemy, you know? Well, we could have made this, you know, a collaboration. He went to the governor, he went to the mayor, he went to the chief of police, and you know, I appreciate the fact that he went so hard, and I understand because he was like born and raised in the city. It's special to him, like he understands how beautiful it is, and he wants people to be able to come and experience it and see what it's like and see, you know, how great it can be. And so he's like, if there are delincuentes out here atracando a los turistas, people aren't gonna want to come. And so yeah, he went really hard to make sure that they were sending out more patrols. By the time we got back to the house, we saw like, you know, a police jeep pass by and some police on like a motorcycle. Like they were coming through more frequently, but it was after he went up there and acted a fool at the police station. So shout out. And then the next day we went to the police station to put a denuncia. And so a denuncia is like a complaint of something that happened to you. But I was just like, I was looking around, like I went into this room. There was an attendant there who was filling out the denuncia, and it was like a Word document where they copy and paste like your name, your passport number, the country that you're from, and like roughly what happened. But like I looked around and there was like there were no like filing cabinets. There was no like storage system. Like there was no indication that it would be filed. Like I'm pretty sure that they just fill it out and they give it to you. Like she printed off a copy and gave it to me for just in case your bank wants proof that your card was stolen. But I don't think they do anything with it. At the end of it, she did give me my my denuncia. And so I have a copy. I was like, this is the one souvenir I never wanted from the Dominican Republic, but since I have it, you know, might as well put it in a frame and let people know about the experience. So that was my experience being atracada in the Dominican Republic. I choose not to let this experience color my perception of the whole country. I definitely didn't let it ruin my trip. With the help of some great people, I was still able to salvage a fantastic vacation. I had the friend that wired me the money through Western Union so that I could get my bus ticket and get back to Santo Domingo where I was staying. I actually found out that if you use the Western Union app, you can Western Union money to yourself. So that's a tip, traveler tip. If for some reason you have no cash and no cards, but you have your ID and your phone or access to the internet, you can send yourself money through Western Union, pick it up, and go on with the rest of your trip. So I want to shout out my Dominican brother, Franklin, for coming through for me in the clutch. I want to shout out Western Union for allowing me to wire myself money. And I'd like to shout out all the good people that made my trip to the Dominican Republic such an amazing experience. I'm definitely ready to jump into the next trip, to the next adventure. And I hope that this hasn't turned you off from traveling and exploring. There's a big world out there and a lot for us to see. So let's continue to explore. Stay tuned until next time. A volar.